Hi there. In the last few videos we've gone over how to set up lights, how to control lights and then how to group lights. This will all be used today to go through how to create queues. A queue is a pre-saved set of lights and their intensities or positions so that they can be used in a show without needing to program them on the fly. They're very handy because they allow you to just press one button on the show night to go through each scene. So, to start with recording a queue, you have to set the lights how you want them. If you take a look at what we had last time, we had group 1 being the warm wash, and let's set this to 50%. That's pressing A to do at, then typing the number, hitting enter, and that gives you the warm wash up. Let's add group 2, which was the red lights. These may differ if you've played around with it, but this is how we had it set up in the last video. So let's say group 2 at 30%. And say we want this to be our scene. To record this, we hit R on the keyboard to get record, and then just type the number. It'll automatically assume you mean Q, and you can hit enter. As you can see, we get a little number at the bottom down here telling you we're now on to Q1. To go between queues, you hit the space bar to go forward, or control and space to go backwards. On the lighting desk, this will be a big stop and go button, but on a keyboard, it's space bar and control and space. So if we hit control space now, you'll see we go back to how it was before. This is Q0. And if we hit space, it'll slowly, over the course of 5 seconds, bring up all the lights to how we recorded them. So let's record another queue. Let's say we want to take the red out. We do group 2 and then out. So O on the keyboard, that takes group 2 out. And we can now hit record Q2. But 5 seconds is quite a long time. So if we want it to be a quicker transition, we can hit time on the lighting desk or I on keyboards and then type a shorter period of time. This is done in seconds. So if I hit 2, that'll be 2 seconds. Hit enter. And as you can see, the number at the bottom now says 2. If we press control and space to go back and now hit space again to go forwards, you'll see it's a much quicker transition. Now that we've recorded a few cues, we can go ahead and take a look at the Psd list down here. As you can see, the 2 cues we've recorded are listed here. In a show night, you'll have all of your cues here. That can be anywhere between 10 and 100, depending on the type of show. And you have all the information about the cue, including the time taken to transition between the two, which we just recorded. Some more timing information for intelligent lights, which we'll go over in a future video. Overall time taken of the cue, which is a combination of all of these. Interestingly, we have this column, which tells you about the blocking. So blocking is a very important part of using EOS. It's quite hard to begin to understand, but it becomes second nature when you've used to it. So with EOS, you have to specify every value you want the lights. If you don't specify, it assumes you want the lights as they were in the previous scene. This isn't always what you want. Sometimes you want the lights to go out, but you just haven't specified go to 0, you've left them blank. So you get what's called blocking, which is stopping that progression of lights, as it were. So it's saying, even though the light was at value X in Q1, ignore that, Q2 is completely different. If you don't have it blocked, it'll propagate through. EOS tends to be good at understanding when you want this, so you will normally not have to worry about it. But it is something you can do manually, and we will cover it later. After blocking, you have some more interesting stuff you can do with cues, which again will be covered in a later video on advanced cues. But more importantly, you have the label. Now the label is very useful. On a show night, we'll have it set up so that anyone could walk in and opt if they were so willing. And that's normally done by good labeling. So this label could be character A has moved downstage, or it could be a specific line in the script. But that would be typed in here by selecting the cue. So let's say Q2, my bad, Q2 where in this case you press the letter Q to select Q, and then hit L for label, or label on the keyboard, and then you can type in a label you want. So, and when you hit enter, it'll come up here. The last thing to discuss when it comes to queues isn't to do with queues themselves. It's to do with the live summary down here. Now, if you've had a look at the live summary and you understand what it is, fair enough, but if you don't, it's simply all of your channels in a big grid, so you can see the values they're on. So if we go back to Q0 by pressing Control and space, you'll see all of the channels are off, which is what we expect. If you look at the Augmented tab, you're not showed anything. However, if we press space, you'll see Group 1 and Group 2, the numbers are increasing. And note that the numbers are blue. This means that they've increased from the previously stored value. And if we hit space one more time, you'll see Group 1, which hasn't changed, will say pink. However, Group 2 has turned green because they have decreased. This is very handy in seeing what lights have changed and from what values to what values. It's a useful thing to keep in mind when you're programming shows. So now that you've done all of that, and including cues, you should be able to program a basic show. So have a play around, see what you can do with Augmented and programming the lights, and if you want, try programming a basic show. Pretend the actors are moving, there are scene changes. Have some fun. If you have any questions, feel free to message us or leave a comment below. And thank you very much for watching. We will be releasing some videos showing the more advanced features of EOS very soon. But for now, that's the basic tutorial.